What exactly is a brand strategist? If you own a business, you must have been approached at some point by somebody who offered to help you with brand strategy. It sounds interesting, doesn't it? A brand strategist might sound like some genius you immediately have to have on the payroll once you hit those five-figure months. Someone that continuously checks the hottest trends, a future forecaster. A brand strategist almost sounds like a mystic figure, connected to the collective conscious, which, for a hefty fee, can bless you with the understanding of how the world works, how the best segments with the most disposable income spend their money so they can maybe spend some money on your business too. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what brand strategy is, what it isn't, and how it can benefit your business, whether your business is in building phase, in growth phase, or in consolidation phase. And if being a brand strategist is something that you want to do professionally, I will also provide you with a step by step on how to become one. If you're building or scaling a business, I will also show you two examples of team structures, and you can see exactly where you can fit a brand strategist, what to expect, how to set some OKRs, as in objectives and key results, and KPIs, or key performance indicators. But first, let's debunk some myths about brand building, brand strategy, and what a brand strategist actually does. I've seen some really old videos on YouTube on the topic of brand strategy, and no, that information is not valid anymore. When you think of a brand strategist, what is the image that pops into your mind? It's kind of giving Mad Men vibes. Some mastermind locked up in an office somewhere thinking about ways to advertise your business. Gets paid a high salary just to sit around and think. Has $1 million idea once in a while to justify his wage. I'm sorry, but I gotta burst your bubble. It's 2025, and we have access to so much data that it would be an extreme liability to conduct your strategies that way. If you want to learn more about that, just look through my channel. I've posted a video about ad metrics, and I think it's called Are LinkedIn Ads Actually Worth It? Or something like that. Right, so a brand strategist is first and foremost data driven. He or she has access to all metrics on all communication channels. You name it: your website, Google keywords, SEO, Facebook, Instagram, newsletter, if you have one. If you don't have one, you're missing out. LinkedIn, even LinkedIn. Strategy must be flexible, while company values must be set in stone. I have here a screenshot from one of the emails I got from Neil Patel recently. You probably might have figured this out already, but we are going through the great Google reset in the sense that regular SEO techniques with keyword ranking and old school stuff don't really work anymore because Google just gives the answer through Gemini. So SEO strategists are kind of struggling right now. And anyway, Neil says the average customer journey now has 11.1 touch points, and you need to show up everywhere that matters: organic search, social media, ads, marketplaces, and AI powered discovery tools like ChatGPT and Perplexity. If you're not visible in the moments that influence buying decisions, that's revenue slipping through the cracks. Attribution is getting messy, but that's okay as long as your strategy accounts for it. What is the data that we're looking at as brand strategists? Well, the level of interest. Yes, we have audience segmentation, but as of 2025, Meta and AI already does the heavy lifting for us. As of this year, stories beat segmentation. Remember that. Think about it. Now, if someone goes on your website, you can follow them around on all social media platforms with your ads. All your communication, cross platform, paints the story of your business. And that's your brand. Stories beat segmentation. We're looking at your emotionally filled content on Meta, your high authority business partners on LinkedIn, why you do what you do shown on your website. All of these are pieces of the puzzle, which is your ongoing story. That is your branding. As such, a brand strategist is both a scientist and an artist. Also, a brand strategist already knows the story. The job is to translate that story to the platform at hand. How does he know how to translate? By testing, looking at the data, and perfecting it. A brand strategist is more of a data manager than a creator. Anybody can create. A brand strategist, however, creates what is needed and when. So, if you still want to be a brand strategist, here are the steps for becoming one. Step one, learn at least two platforms. It's important that there's more than one so you can compare the two. It can either be Instagram plus website, Facebook plus LinkedIn, YouTube plus newsletter, or all of them. But you need to be really intimate with at least two. So, how do you get intimate? You learn the proper format, whether that's short form video, short form text, long form video, long form text. You learn the aspect ratios. You learn the character limits for each one. Then you learn how to batch test. For example, you can batch test 5 hooks with 3 bodies of content, and that's how you get 15 ads for the same offer or product. Then you have to learn how to look at the metrics. Lots of impressions don't necessarily mean lots of qualified leads. Learn which format drives which and take advantage of that. Numbers equals authority and trust. Calling out your ICP, your ideal customer persona, at the right time equals sales. Step two is test it on yourself first. If you want to be a brand strategist for others, learn how to first be a brand strategist for you. Do it for yourself first. You don't need to paint the same story on every platform this time. Just test out some shit. You can be a matcha Pilates girl on Instagram and a girl boss on LinkedIn. See how communication resonates. Don't be vain about it. You're going to suck. You're going to have hits and misses. And that's okay. That's how you eventually get to serve your clients with integrity. Step three is offering to be a shadow, i.e., sticking close to a business, and then do audits showing them the true potential of what they can achieve with you. Be patient and don't be greedy. You're here to learn their story. Nobody owes you anything, babe. When a company understands the value that you bring, that's step four. You don't really have to do anything for step four. You just accept or not, depending if you are in alignment with each other. I have to say, never in my life would I have imagined I would do brand strategy for others. I was just helping out others leverage their existing assets without building new ones, tried to see where they were hemorrhaging money, grow their profit margins as much as possible, and reallocate the newly acquired funds to segments that brought more money in the business. They kept calling me strategist, head of strategy. I thought, man, these people are dumb. They don't understand anything. I was very doubtful because I also had the same image from Mad Men with that mystical creature locked up in a tower spewing genius ideas. My role was very humble, by contrast. Questions first, data second, suggestions only backed up by numbers. Well, apparently, that is exactly what a brand strategist is: a humble person, flexible, curious, forever learning. That's what you got to do as a brand strategist. Now, if you don't want to do brand strategy and you want to just hire somebody, first of all, congratulations. You're on the right track to scaling and maybe even selling your business with a high exit. I've prepared two very different examples of teams. One is sales heavy, the other one is marketing heavy. What does that mean? Sales is something you actively do, while marketing is something we continuously do. Who is the product for? When do they need it? We leave breadcrumbs in marketing, but we hunt in sales. All right, here we go. Let me show you. So let's start with the extremely lean one, which is the marketing based one. This is the entire team. Wait a minute. No, it's not. What the fuck? I guess so. This is the entire commercial team of a info product business, a knowledge-based business that generates $500,000 a month. I took it off of William Brown's channel when he explains everything. It's extremely lean and they always look to see how much more efficient they can make it. So they do have one setter and three closers. For those of you who don't know, a setter sets appointments where closers close the sale. I don't know why I said it that way. They have a copywriter, they have a media buyer, remember that, and they have a virtual assistant that probably kind of trims the hedges of the business, if you will. Remember the importance of the media buyer and the copywriter in this business. So even though it's so lean, the workload on this particular segment of communication is that big that they have two roles, not one. And also, I'm pretty sure that William does all the heavy lifting regarding several aspects of management. So he doesn't just do the teaching and the YouTube videos that you probably already know. Right. Now, let's look at the second example. The second example is from Charlie Morgan. I forgot how much Charlie Morgan makes every month, but I do know that he says several times that he spends like $200,000 or $300,000 on ads, which is absolutely insane. But the amount of network knowledge that you gather from that type of scaling, I think, is so valuable. In this case, this is a sales heavy business. This business is out for the hunt. Charlie has a partner. His name is Bo. And you can see how they are just padded with managers in order for them to not have to deal directly with the operations, but at the same time, the middle management or the, I guess, higher management, they don't really have levels of management here, talk directly to the guys if something is an issue. They have a sales manager for this army of salespeople. They have a data manager to handle the complexity of the whole thing. And they have a setter manager, which is different from the sales manager. I love how, when looking at these diagrams, we understand the nature of the two parts of a sale, which is setting and closing. And you see the importance of both of these related to how many people are attributed to that specific part of the process. Right. On the content side, they have a creative director for the social media, and they have the editor for the long to short form. So this guy is kind of like a machine. What they do have is also outsourcing. So they outsource the media buying, and that's an ads agency. One of them decides how to communicate, and the other one decides how to operate. I bet you $10 the partner wins Charlie. Anyway, we see this role of media buyer both in Charlie's case and in William's case. The thing is, a media buyer does more than just spend money on ads. A media buyer, in order to actually run efficient ads with high ROAS, return on ad spend, they have to know how much money they're spending to acquire a new customer, customer acquisition cost, and they also kind of have to know the lifetime value. So I've heard people spending like $1 million a month on ads, talking about how they're trying to, so they cap the customer acquisition cost at like $120, and they're trying to bring it to below 100. In order for that to happen, the communication has to be really dialed in. I've mentioned before that targeting the proper audience is less important because the algorithms and AI work for you, but depicting the story is a lot more important. So think of it as highly specialized categories. So there's discussion around vertical integration. If some type of organic content works really good on an account, they're only going to do that format of organic content and also ads as well. Because the organic content, not only does it offer more content for somebody that wants to learn more about you, but it also helps with the relevance of the ads for them to be pushed exactly where they need to be pushed. Adding that to the way that LinkedIn ads work, in which gender is not a thing, age is not a thing, but what they do as a profession, their seniority, and not even what they do as a profession, actually, their seniority in a company and their years of experience, those are more important. Then audience segmentation kind of loses meaning because AI takes care of everything. So I hope this brings a little more clarity regarding what brand strategy is and how to approach it using AI in your favor. If you'd like more clarity on your business, I have a downloadable business assessment tool below. That's it. Bye.